All right, let's get into it. Some growth hacks without the BS. If you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, personal development, and all things financial freedom. Now, before we jump into it, you need to know that although I'm just some guy on YouTube that wears a black t-shirt, I run a full service buyers agency which has over 50 full-time staff in Australia. We've been voted multiple years as Australia's fastest growing startup, and with that we've been able to help more than 1,000 clients purchase real estate here in Australia. So if you're interested in knowing how all of that stuff works, definitely use the link in the description box below so you can go ahead and book in a free call. Now the reason I start with that is because you need to know who you're listening to when it comes to the no BS advice around building wealth in real estate. I'm going to share with you a couple of growth hacks that I think are going to change the way you think about things. And although on the surface level, it looks like everyone knows this, believe me, nobody knows all of these. Now, hack number one, which may feel illegal, but is totally legal, is using other people's money. Now, what I mean by that, in Australia, we have a really good banking system around when you want to go and purchase property versus when you're going out and getting a personal loan. Now, there's a reason for this and we're gonna uncover that in a little bit. But when you go to the bank and you say, look, I need some money, they're gonna ask, what are you gonna put up as collateral for us to give you money? And if you decide, I just wanna go on a holiday, they're gonna say, okay, well, you probably need a credit card. They're gonna do their checks and you'll probably get an outrageous interest rate on your credit card. The same goes for a personal loan. And you may say, oh, I wanna buy a new car. So they'll go, okay, you can get a car loan or you can do a personal loan. And these rates are significantly higher than a mortgage loan. And that's because the banks love real estate here in Australia. So if you go in there and say, I actually want to buy this house, they will not only go and say yes, they'll also give you the lowest rate and they'll do it over the longest period of time, being a 30-year term, and they'll say you only need to put 5, 10, maybe 20% as a deposit and we'll fund the rest. This is one of the biggest advantages with real estate. If you want to do it well and scale up a portfolio, you need to be using the bank's money. And I know, unfortunately, we've been fed a lie, which is, hey, debt is really bad. Look how much interest I'm paying. That is the poor mindset. Don't think about it that way. Figure out what your savings rates are, and then from there, you can say, okay, this is my emergency fund. Now I need to go and invest. I've said this before and I'll say it again. No one has won the game of Monopoly by simply going around the board earning $200 as you pass go. That would be the equivalent of you saying, you know what, I'm gonna get to financial freedom by saving. And all I'm gonna do is collect my salary every week or every month, and I'll spend what I need to, like for rent and food, and the rest I'm just gonna save. Because I can tell you how that ends. It means that you have a really good amount of savings, but it will diminish over time because as our currency gets debased, it loses its value. You need to attach this fiat currency, which is the Australian dollar, to hard assets like real estate. And that is how the wealthy really get wealthy. Now, over time, what we've realized is inflation kicks off. You see everything increase in price, the property goes up, the asset prices for everything go up. The big Zinger box that you get used to cost $10, now it costs like almost 20 bucks, which is really sad. But that's the reality. That's what happens because the currency loses its value. But the debt stays the same. And this is so important. I know that people focus on the cost of something, but you've got to think about what the benefit is. And the benefit in holding property is that you're going to go and outpace inflation year on year. If you look over the last 30 years, you've seen it time and time again. And if you've just discovered this video, you should go ahead and subscribe. I have over 1,000 videos. And yes, I do love property. So you should go and check out those after this. Now, before I jump into hack number 2, I'm doing a giveaway on this channel. If you are one of the lucky few that want to go and grab a signed copy of my book, Retire Filthy Rich with Real Estate, then leave me a comment down below saying Retire Filthy Rich with Ravi, and you have to be subscribed to the channel. I know about 50% of you that watch the channel are like, yeah, that's cool, algorithm's gonna kick in when I need it. You need to be ahead of the curve. So if you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, comment down below. I'm gonna pick 5 random winners. I'm gonna get the book out to you and I'll also write you a nice message. So go ahead, enter the giveaway, and we'll announce that in the next week or so. Hack number 2 is forget about property cycles. We've heard it all. Property seems to double every 10 years. Is it 7 years? Oh, how much growth is there gonna be? Or there's this 18.6 year cycle. Oh, we're about to crash in this market because someone online told me it would. Forget the white noise. What you need to focus on is your own strategy, your own goals, and stop timing the market. You've heard this saying before, which is time in the market beats timing the market. I like to try and do both, but that's because I do this day in, day out. Now, when I was purchasing my first couple of properties, I wasn't looking at property all the time. I was working a full-time job just like yourself. And at that time, I had no idea about cycles because there wasn't enough information about it back then. But what I realized was it doesn't matter what someone was saying. I was going out and purchasing property. Yes, some years the property went sideways, even sometimes went down. But overall, over the last 10, 11 years, I've seen those properties now double in value. And in some cases, even more than that in a short amount of time. So although you can go out there, do tons and tons of research, you're probably better off going, okay, I can outsource this research to someone who can do it for me. Or if I'm gonna do it myself, be very comfortable that by the time you figure out what market you need to be in, the market's already moved. And on a 500K property, if it's growing by 10% a year, that means in 6 months' time, which is usually what your research will look like, in that one market, the property that you were going to purchase for 500K is now worth 525,000. And that's something you got to weigh up. Speed is the key, and I've realized that over my time. When I look at high net worth people and how they accumulate so much wealth, it is absolutely disgusting. But the amount that they are able to generate and how fast they're able to do it, it all depends on execution and outsourcing. So if you need help with the research side of things, you need to go and find someone that can do it for you. I'll give you an example. If you go and say, I'm gonna find the best mortgage for myself while I do my full-time job, I'm gonna be at work thinking about mortgage rates. Now, my boss is either gonna tell me off, or I'm gonna be thinking about mortgage rates and I might not do a really good job of it. Now that's just one day. I have to look at 30 to 40, maybe 50 lenders that I could possibly go with. And I'm not just talking about mortgage rates. Each bank has a different policy when it comes to the type of documents they need from the different type of clients and candidates. And then there's some banks that will require something completely different for the exact same thing. Now, the way I got around it was I was like, hey, I've got no time for this. I'm gonna outsource this to a mortgage broker. So the same way you need to assess that in your own lives, whether it's cleaning around the house or whether it's a chef or someone to wash your car, it's the same thing you need to apply, but you're now dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you need to be careful with who you pick and how you pick them. The next hack is knowledge is not power, action is power. So just flowing on from what I was just mentioning in hack 2 is that speed is the key and knowledge is useless unless you're going to use it. So you could go ahead, listen to this video and say, okay, well that makes a lot of sense, Ravi. And then you go back to your day job or you go back to what you're doing just before this video. And then suddenly you realize 3 days later, hey, I remember watching a video that Ravi put up about growth hacking and making a lot of money in real estate. I don't know what he meant by that. Now, either you're going to go and watch it again, which again is not that efficient, or two, you're just going to forget and you'll continue moving on and probably scroll through TikTok or Instagram. And that's just how we're wired as a society now. So if you know you need to do something, you should do it there and then. So if you're at this point of the video and you're like, hey, I really want to buy his book, then yes, go ahead and buy the book. Or if you want to book in a free call with my team, you can go ahead and do that too. But what I'm saying is that you need to move with speed and not just sit on the knowledge. I know so many people that have come to us and I've had a chat with and they say, look, Ravi, this is my strategy. And I say, cool, like it looks good. Maybe we can tweak this, add this and pivot here. And they say, great. Okay, well, what's the next steps? And the next steps are we go and execute. And they would say, well, actually, I like this area, but I also like this area and I don't like it for this reason. So there's pros and cons. And what happens is you get analysis paralysis. And so many people over the last couple of years have just stayed in the exact same spot. They have just not made any moves because for every time they find a pro, they also find a con. And as soon as they find those two, they find themselves overanalyzing which one is the better option. The truth is, just like the universe, you're never going to know the alternative. Opportunity cost now is a real thing, and it's so bad because we have so many opportunities out there. And because we're so distracted all the time, on purpose by the way, we aren't able to just focus on the one thing and do it really well. This is why I think we're headed into a society where everyone just becomes a specialist in their roles. Naval Ravikant actually talks about this, and I read this a couple of years ago, where he talks about we're headed into a society where everyone's just going to work for themselves and just be specialists in that one role. And we've already started seeing that, where you see so many more people taking up side hustles, which become their main hustles, and they're only focusing on things they like. And that makes a lot of sense, right? It seems like an efficient and productive economy. Think about it. If you're sitting there and saying, well, I really like writing and I like writing for cafes, maybe it's blog posts for cafes, you would go and do that job so much better than someone like myself. One, because I don't have much of an interest in there, and two, you really have a passion behind it. And so I think that's where the world's headed. And so for yourself, if you're looking at building enormous amounts of wealth through real estate that allows you choice to spend more time with family, go and pursue, your dreams that you actually forgot about because you went and started a job that paid you a lot, then you need to just outsource things that you're not passionate about and that you know someone out there is better at doing than you are. and you just need to align yourself with someone who is doing what you want to be doing. And that's just how the rich think. When I think about all the high net worth clients that I've ever dealt with, or the founders that I speak to on the More Than Money podcast that I host, I feel like there's a trend and things that resonate with me because I'm in that boat as well. There are things that I could save a lot of money on, but the reality is I'm probably not going to do a great job of it because I don't have a passion for it. And that's what you don't want to do when it comes to real estate. You're not just talking about me wasting a couple of hours, you're talking about hundreds and thousands of dollars. So these are the couple of growth hacks that I've come across in my time in investing in real estate, meeting a bunch of really cool people and making videos for you guys. Now, as I mentioned, I want to get signed copies out to you. So I'm picking 5 people. Remember to smash that subscribe button. Comment down below saying retire filthy rich with Ravi. I'll pick the winners and ship the book out to you. Thank you so much again for everyone that has bought the book, supported the book, and shared it amongst their friends. If you can leave a review on Amazon, that would be greatly appreciated. And for those that are wanting a signed copy, then let's make it happen. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, smash that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.